It's Saturday, October 12th. And Jake and I are tucked in for our afternoon sit. We're on Jared and I's farm. We actually hunted here this morning, and we had a pretty good sit. We sat about 150 yards from here, where we could see a lot of the farm, just to see, what movement patterns might show themselves. And it was 23 degrees this morning, so it was nice and chilly. We ended up seeing about 14 does and fawns and 3 bucks, 2 little bucks, and one pretty nice 10. I think it's a 3 or 4 year old 10 we have some pictures of. But it was off in the distance, about 300 yards, walking through some tall sorghum. So we could just see his head, and we didn't get very much footage of him. But at least it was nice to see a rack buck on his feet. This afternoon we've moved onto the brassica plot here. This is Big and BC plot that we put in this summer. And this is the spot, if you guys remember, from 2 years ago, where Jared and I, on our first sit on the farm, had an encounter with the buck we call Merino. We were actually in this big cottonwood that's just on the edge of the plot, and he came walking through this really open area that I call the park, but he just came working through there with a doe. That was in November, of course, but we've had pictures of him on a camera just about 75 yards from here, and he seems to be living on this end of the farm. We've got corn and beans on the neighbor not too far away, and then we've got this nice big brassica plot. So I expect deer to move away from the river in the thick bedding and into this plot out towards the ag fields. It's a lot warmer this afternoon. It's about 60 degrees, and the wind's been gusting upwards of 30 miles an hour. We waited to get in the stand kind of late for the wind to die down some. It's about 5 o'clock now. We've been set up for probably 30 minutes, and it's supposed to die down to 10 to 15 miles an hour the last hour and a half or so, which will be nice so we don't get blown out of the tree. But the other deer I'm looking for is Todd Gurley. He's a deer we've had, just like Merino, 3 years of history with, and both of them are really nice looking deer this year, and the top 2 bucks on the hit list. So we're gonna just get quiet and enjoy the sit.
Realtree's Midwest Whitetail is brought to you by Cuddyback, Drake Non-Typical, Easton Arrows, Frigid Forage, Fuse, Grizzly Coolers, Hoyt, and Realtree.
It's about 6 o'clock. We're down to our last hour. It's been pretty slow so far. It's still pretty windy. We've had 2 does come by so far. One is, I think, the same little tiny doe that we saw this morning. She just walked right up the road here behind us and went into the corn. And then one came from across the creek and worked out to the corn as well. Nothing's been in the food plot yet. We'll see if the wind suppresses the movement, but it's cooling off nice, and I'm hoping the movement picks up here pretty soon. We're down to our last few minutes, and overall it's a pretty slow night. We did have a doe and a fawn come in the food plot right after my last interview, a little after 6 o'clock. The wind has been swirling some out of the north. They actually got our wind and went back towards the river. I've seen a number of deer, probably 6 to 10 deer and at least 1 buck in the main food plot. It's about 200 yards away, and I can barely see through there with the binoculars through the timber, but can't really film them. I thought more deer would be filtering through this open area in this food plot out to the corn and beans, but just didn't work out that way. So enjoyable day in the stand nonetheless, and we'll be back out tomorrow, so we'll see you guys then.